everyone, it's Haley, and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review for Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling, John Tiffany, Jack Thorne, and Jack Thorne. So just a couple of things before I actually get into the summary. One, this review will be spoiler-free as long as you have read the Harry Potter series, because I really can't talk much about this one without spoiling a few things from after the 7th book, because this one is technically the 8th Harry Potter book. I say quotation marks because it is a play, so it is not the same style as the previous Harry Potter books, but it does pick up right where the other one left off. But this time you are following the children of some of your favorite characters from the Harry Potter series. So we have like Ron and Hermione's kids, we have Harry's kids, of course, it mostly follows Albus, and then we have Draco's kid, who is Scorpius. The second thing is that this review is not going to be the most positive review, because I honestly was not a huge fan of this book. I can't really say I was disappointed in it because my expectations were really low going into it. I was not expecting to like it. I was very apprehensive about it, and I was correct. I was hoping I would be wrong and I would be pleasantly surprised by it, but I didn't really end up liking it very much. I do have a few positive things to say about it, but for the most part this is going to be a pretty negative review. So if you did love this book and you don't care to listen to me point out its flaws, then don't watch this review because it'll probably upset you. No need to get mad at me. I hope that you guys liked it more than I did, but yeah, this is just kind of my opinion. Now, the writing of this book, you will notice that I said Jack Thorne twice when I was saying who wrote this book, and that was not a mistake, that was intentional, because this book is mostly done by Jack Thorne. You will notice that on the cover of the book it says J.K. Rowling very large, and then it says John Tiffany, and then it says Jack Thorne, and then under that it says a new play by Jack Thorne, which leads me to believe that this was mostly done by Jack Thorne, as does the writing of it, because it just doesn't have J.K. Rowling's touch in it. It doesn't really have that magical element that she brings to it. Now, it's really hard to judge the writing of this because it is a play, so I wasn't expecting it to be the same as the rest of the series because those are actual full-fledged novels. But the problem is a lot of where the magic comes from with the Harry Potter series is in the descriptions. It's in the inner monologues of the characters. J.K. Rowling really paints a picture for you. You get the character development and you get the world building that you just can't get with a play, and sure enough, you don't get it in this play. It's mostly dialogue, and the dialogue was just not the kind of dialogue that is really engaging and entertaining, and paired with the characters, the dialogue was just kind of meh. Like, I can't really say that many good things about it. The writing honestly made it seem like it was a fan fiction. I felt like I was reading a fan fiction. It was just very corny at times, and it just didn't really feel like a Harry Potter story. But I will get into that more so with characters and plot. The writing just wasn't really special. It didn't have that kind of witty narrator, which I think is a huge part of the Harry Potter series. The narrator is such a big character and you don't even realize that they're a character. And in this book you don't get a narrator because it is a play. So not having that narrator really brought the story down, and like I said, made it feel like it wasn't a Harry Potter story. So as far as characters go, we focus on Scorpius and Albus. Now, Albus was an okay character. He didn't come to life. He wasn't very well developed, and I think that is just because this is a play. I think he needs an actor to bring him to life. Plays are meant to be performed. They're meant to be heard, not really read. So reading it, I don't think it had the same effect as it would on the stage. I think on stage this would be an amazing play. I would love to see how they do all the magic, because there's a lot of magic in here, and the way that it's described, like, I would just love to see how they are planning on staging that. I think this could be a very successful play. But that being said, I just don't think it is successful as a written work. I think it doesn't have the same amount of impact, especially because you don't get that character development in main characters like Albus. He doesn't seem like Harry Potter's son. He just seems kind of like a really confused and distraught teen boy who is just kind of rebelling against his father. Like, I understood why he made the decisions that he did and why his relationship with Harry was the way it was, because it made sense. Harry is super famous, super well known, and Albus feels like he has to live up to that. So I can understand him resenting Harry because of that. But that being said, Harry's response to that in his part in the relationship did not seem like Harry Potter. He said things and he did things that he would never say. So there were so many inconsistencies with characters like Harry and Ron and Hermione from the original series. And that was a huge problem for me. I mean, you spend 7 books falling in love with these characters, and then in this play, they're not the same as they were in the original series, which is pretty disappointing. Hermione, I think, she made decisions that I don't think made sense. It was almost like she wasn't thinking about what she was doing, and Hermione is meticulous about thinking about everything and thinking about what could go wrong and making the smartest decision, and that's what makes her Hermione. And that didn't happen in this book. And it was the same with Harry. He is brave and he is caring and kind, and he wasn't like that in this book. Or in this play rather. He just said things that were so uncharacteristic of him, and because of that, I didn't feel like I was reading a story about Harry Potter or anyone related to Harry Potter. Ron was where I had the biggest issue, because Ron was not Ronald Weasley at all. He was there for comic relief. He was the clown in a Shakespeare play. He was there to add a little bit of light to a dark situation. But he wasn't even that funny, and it felt like he was trying to make up for the absence of, I think George is the one who died, but I can't remember right now. It felt like he was trying to kind of fill in for the twins. He was kind of taking that spot, and I just don't think that that's what Ron would do. He just became such this one-dimensional character, and I think that having those characters not be true to who they were before, I wish that they had been, because they deserve better than that. And I just think it was one of those situations where their characters aren't very good in here, but once again, they might need an actor to bring them to life. Now, that being said, I really actually liked Draco. I felt like he got kind of the redemption that he was never allowed in the previous series, and it was kind of nice to read about him in a different way. I think you got a different perspective on him and his situation, and you almost felt for him, which I feel like you felt for him a little bit in the previous books, but you felt for him even more here. And I loved his son. Scorpius was probably my favorite character. I think he was the one new character that was really well developed and you got to know, and I think he was the one successful character. Now, as far as plot goes, it's once again something where I felt like this was not a Harry Potter story, because it took this very kind of conventional storyline that I have seen so many times before, and it just made it into a Harry Potter story. There were some twists and turns that I wasn't expecting, but for the most part, it was pretty predictable, and I felt like I knew what was going to happen. And the things that weren't predictable, I felt like were really unrealistic, and a lot of it could be explained away. Like, it just didn't make sense why things were happening in the way that they were. And I think that coupled with the characters and all my issues with that just made me not really enjoy this. The one thing that I will say is I loved being back in the Harry Potter world. You didn't really need the world building in this book as you did in the previous one, because it's already been set up for 7 books. So the world was already built up. It was already something I was familiar with, and I did feel like I was returning to Hogwarts and I was going back into the wizarding world. I think the world was very successful, and that was the main part of this book that I enjoyed. But other than that, like, even getting back to characters a little bit, even minor characters, or not so minor characters, but like Professor McGonagall and like other characters that were part of the Harry Potter series and played a really big role in that, they come back in this book, but you don't really get to see a lot of them, which was disappointing, because I think a lot of people were reading this book to get back to their favorite characters, and honestly, I think that's where this book fell flat. It's trying to kind of tie up the loose ends that were left after Deathly Hallows, but I kind of liked leaving those ends loose because it lets the story live on. It lets everyone kind of speculate about what might be happening now, like what Harry and Hermione and Ron's kids are like and all of that. It lets you kind of imagine that. So the story lives on with everyone as everyone is imagining something different. But these answers that we were given were kind of disappointing, and it just wasn't everything that I had wanted this to be. It just was a little bit of, not even a disappointment because my expectations were low in the first place, but it just was a little bit sad for me, and I kind of have to think of this as a separate Harry Potter story, because if I think of it as part of the series or even being closely related to the Harry Potter franchise, then it just lets me down. But if I think of it apart from that as a completely new story, then I think it's good. And I think that the performance would be really great, and I would love to see how they are going to perform this, because I think it could be really successful on stage. Overall, I ended up giving this a 2 or 2.5 out of 5 stars. I wish I could say that this was amazing and it was 5 out of 5 stars and it absolutely blew me away and surprised me, but it didn't. And that is unfortunate, but like I said, I was kind of expecting it. I didn't have very high expectations because I knew it was a play. It's not all written by her. There is no way that it can be the same as the rest of the series, especially because the series was done. It ended at a perfect point and there just couldn't be more added. But that being said, I am glad that I have read it. I think seeing what J.K. Rowling and the other authors think should happen in the future with the characters and how they're doing now, I think it was an interesting perspective to take, but I kind of want to leave it to my own imagination and what I think they're doing now in the future, 19 years later. I just kind of, yeah. Little bit disappointed, but I hope that you guys had a better experience with this play than I did. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But like I said, I would love to see it in performance because I think it could be really successful then. But yeah, that's all for today's review. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know definitely your thoughts on this. I'm very interested to see what people are saying. I know it's been kind of 50-50 so far from what I've seen. I haven't really been watching anyone's reviews because I wanted to film mine first. I'm excited that this is out, but I really hope that Cursed Child will either, like, they'll do a movie of the play or it will come somewhere near me because I definitely want to see this, or if they even release it in an audiobook. I think I would enjoy an audiobook more than I did actually sitting down and reading the play. But yeah, just keep in mind that this is my opinion, so if you loved this, then awesome. I didn't, but I know that there's going to be some comments, people getting mad at me for not liking it, but just keep in mind my opinion, and I'm just sharing it with you guys, and yeah. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!